Welcome to another video. In this one, I'm going to change the plugs. Now, this is my 2021 JCW. It's an LCi2 and 2-litre turbo. So if you're familiar with that engine, you'll know that it's a 4-cylinder, so there are 4 spark plugs to change. And when I first bought the car, it's got about 28,000 miles on it now. When I first bought it with barely any miles on it, the first thing I did was put a fresh set of plugs in, some NGKs. And although, you know, the recommended interval is about 30,000 and they're not quite there yet, and they probably don't need changing, if I'm honest. You know, I've got quite a long journey coming up on a trip to France. I want everything to be tip top, so I'm going to change them for the sake of about 50 quid. You know, to me, it's worth doing, and I know they've got a fresh set put into the cylinder head. So I'm going to do a simple guide. I'll go through the tools. I'll go through a couple of little snags that might cause you a little bit of a problem if it's the first time you've done it, and hopefully it's helpful to somebody. Okay, right, we'll crack on. Let's look at the tools first, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's talk about tools. So to do this job, you don't need that much, to be honest. You need an E8 star socket. You need one of those to take off the coil packs, because there's a little bolt holding them down. I've got mine on a little extension, a 3/8 extension. Spark plug socket, little grommet inside. This is not the usual one you get in sort of big boxes like your Halfords professional boxes and stuff like that. So, or the Halfords advanced stuff. So you'll need one of these more than likely. They're only about 8 quid. I've got a little pick. There's a couple of plugs and sensors you're going to have to take off, and it's much easier with a little pick like this, just to loosen them. Then you can pull them back and then get the plugs off nice and easy. I've got a 3/8 ratchet, 3/8 extension, and I've got a digital torque wrench. I'll be setting this to 23 Newton meters. Now, you could use a manual one. I've got a manual one as well, but I quite like this one because it beeps and it flashes, and you know, it's a bit fancy, but it does the job just as well as I'm sure some other ones do. But more, you know, it's good practice to use one of these, especially on spark plugs. You don't want to be swinging on them and over tightening them. 23 Newton meters is not very high at all, so it's handy having one of those. Spark plugs, I've gone for these. Now, they are currently at Eurocar Parts for a set of these is about £52 for a set of 4. Now, the ones that I've already got in the car, I put them in when I first bought the car, and it was practically brand new, are these ones, and I'm changing them, and I am changing them prematurely. I've only done about 20 and a bit thousand miles. They will last, you know, the recommended interval I think is 30,000. I'm going on a long journey. I've mentioned this on another video, and you know, I just want things to be tip top. So I've decided to change them, and for the cost of them, you know, and I'm doing it myself, I don't think it's too bad. These are the ones that you want. You can buy them in other places. You can obviously buy plugs from BMW, but at the minute, I asked yesterday, they are £26 a plug, so you're over £100 for a set of 4. So it's quite pricey, really. I do like to buy filters and stuff from BMW, but you know, set of plugs, and these are well recommended on forums and stuff. And there's quite a few posts about people pulling out the original plugs, factory plugs, and like 2 of them will be Champion and 2 of them will be NGK. So you know, it's quite well known that BMW will use these plugs as well. So that's what you'll need. It's not particularly much. You might need to invest in a couple of little bits like this. You know, if you've got a basic set where you've got like one of these, you don't need a torque wrench, but you know, it's good practice. So there we go. That's the stuff you need. I'm going to set the camera up on a tripod, and then we'll get to doing the job. It's pretty straightforward, as you'll see. Right, the first thing you're going to need to do is lift this cover. Just pull this, get that out of the way, lift that out. Then you've got your 4 coil packs, 1, 2, 3, 4. I know on some of the earlier JCWs, there is a cover over this area here, so you might need to lift that out of the way. But the first thing you need to do, really, I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to undo this little E8 star bolt, and I'm going to try and lift the coil pack out without taking the plug off. But if you've got to take it off, you've got to take it off. So I'll do that first and we'll see how that goes. Just watch this, there's some sort of breather or something in the way. Just move that out of the way gently. Get this on, come on son. So, these are only nipped up, so you don't need to go mad when you tighten them back up later. And they won't come out, they're captive on the coil pack itself, so that's not going anywhere. And then you should be able to just pull this out, get hold of it, pull it out, like that, and just carefully put that out the way. Right, first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to do one at a time. Pull the first plug. Gently lower this into the chamber, push it on top and just turn it a little bit till you feel that it bites on the top of the spark plug. Put that in there and just gently crack that off there. You don't want to be cross-threading anything, upsetting the head on the top of the engine because you're going to have a bad day. I can feel that going now. Just carefully pull that out. I'm not expecting these to be particularly dirty, but it's always nice to see what they're like. Here we go. There's the first one. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with those, but you know what, there's no harm in changing the plugs for a new set. See if I can get a bit of focus on that. There we go. Absolutely nothing wrong with those, but I'm going to change them anyway. I bought them. You know, it's never a harm putting new components on if you can afford it and you've got the time and you've got the know-how, but they're the same ones as I'm putting in. This thing on there, sorry, move it down so you can actually see. Yeah. So I'll put a new one in. I'm going to do one at a time. And what you're going to have to do is, now there's lots of stuff online about this, about the gap. Now these are preset, right? The gap is preset. Some people say, well, you should check them. Yeah, okay, you can check them. No, nothing stopping you checking them if you want to check them. But they should be preset. There's nothing that you should have to do to this spark plug. But I've put that on the end of the socket. It's got a little rubber grommet. It's not going anywhere at the minute. And I'm going to gently lower it down and just let it find its place in the thread. Just gently until I get it to nip. So I can feel that that's on the thread there. Next, start to feel that. Now, I would never put any like anti-seize or anything like that on one of these. Some people used to, but there's a lot of stuff online about, you know, if you're going to torque this up, it's going to change the torque setting. Right, now I can feel that just about tightening, but I want to use the torque wrench properly and torque that up. So I'm going to do that now. Right, I can set this. I've got a reading there. It says 25. If I remember correctly, I can change that. Hold this down. It's already set, so I'll go along to, I'm going to lower that down. Oh, I've made a mistake. Thought I might do that. Hang on. Start again. Right. 2. 23 Newton meters. and then I think, and that's set. So that's set to 23 Newton meters. Okay, so put this on, set that right, once more, there we go, all set. Take that off, then hopefully, sometimes this is a bit of a pain, try and wiggle this off the top of the spark plug without the actual bar coming out. There we go, and that's the first one out and done. So now I need to put the coil pack back on. So I'm going to lower that in, push it all the way home, just go underneath that little breather there, push that in, that's in, get this to bite in the right place. Okay, where's that little socket? This is just a bit awkward in the wrong place, this little breather, but I don't want to smash it. But don't be pulling on this too hard, you'll end up fracturing it, and that won't be good either. Okay, that's it. You're just stopping that coil pack from coming out, so it doesn't have to be ridiculously tight. There we go, so that's the first one done. I'm just going to stop the video there and I'm going to try and get a closer angle for the next one. When you come to the second one, this is in the way and it slides on there, so just when it's sort of here, just put a little pick in there and just pull that, like sort of push the tab down, and that allows you to slide it off, and then you can lift it up. Just gently out the way. Obviously watch the loom, don't be pulling on the wires too much, but that gives you some access to that bolt there. You can get those off. So the other three, sorry, these, so I've done that one. These three, access is pretty good. So I'm just going to put the camera on the mount, and just on a time lapse I'm just going to take those out. But it is really that straightforward. If you do one at a time, you just take your time, pull the coil packs out, taut them up 23 Newton meters each one, and then carefully put things back into place, put your plug in. It should be no problems at all. Just be careful you're not cross-threading the thread in the head for the spark plug. So I'll put this on a time lapse now, and then you'll be able to see how it's done one at a time at a little bit of a faster rate. Okay, I stopped the video there just to have a look at this little bit. So there's a sensor here, and this also gets in the way of this E8 bolt. So with these types of plugs, you need a little pick just to pull the top of this grey tab up a little bit, and then you can squeeze it and pull it off. So that's all nipped up now. So these coil packs are all back in and all torqued up. All the E8, sorry, are all tightened up, the bolts to hold the coil packs in. And then I'm just going to put this plug back on. You hear it click as it plugs back in. That's it. And then just push the tab back into place like that. And then that's done. So really that is it. I'm just going to give everything a little bit of a wipe down. The old plugs, you know, I've already shown you one, but they're all the same. You know, it's nice to see what things look like. It's never going to be any harm putting new plugs in, but they're the same ones as I've just you know, these the ones that I've taken out are the same as what I'm putting in, just fresh versions. But you know, I like to drive the car hard from time to time, and you know, I regularly service it, gets oil change every 6,000 miles, which is way sooner than the recommended interval. But you know, I like this car. I want to spend a bit of money on it, keep it well maintained. That's you know, you can't deny that, you know, regular servicing is good. So I've decided to change these as well, and they're all the same, really. Little bit of coking up on the very tips, but nothing that I would be too concerned about. There's no oil or anything on there. There's nothing too bad. So yeah, I'm just going to get everything wrapped up here. If there's any other little points to discuss, then I'll do that in a minute, and we'll close this video, or bring this video to a close. Right, okay, that's it. I mean, it's not a complicated job. For the price of, you know, what you're going to pay for a set of spark plugs, it's worth doing. I think it's worth doing more regularly than it's recommended, but that's entirely up to you. A couple of little bits, you know, you've got your 4 coil packs. You know, they might need changing depending on the mileage. If you've got a misfire or anything, if you plug it in and it's showing a misfire, it could well be one of these. You know, it is really that simple to change one. Be careful with things like this. They're fragile. They go through lots of heat cycles. They can fracture, and then you have air leaks and things like that. With wiring looms, you know, just be careful with the wiring. Don't nip it. Don't pull on it and things like that. Pull it out of its socket. And then, you know, you really don't need to undo these when you are changing the spark plugs. Just gently lift them out of the way. And then when you put everything back together, just, you know, make sure these are nipped up. Make sure everything's pushed home. Make sure everything's torqued up. Make sure you put all the plugs back in place and back into their little clips and stuff like that. And then really the last thing to do is just put the cover on. And it's that easy. So, you know, if you've enjoyed this video or it's been helpful, you know, give it a thumbs up, and yeah, see you in the next one. Cheers.